is on. Go ahead.
Wow. How do we follow that? We all are aware of the role of venture capital in spreading, scaling up, and ensuring the sustainability of these wonderful, incredible examples of innovation that we've heard about. I'd like to share with you 3 examples from my country, Nigeria, of innovations in the financial sector, innovations for financing innovation, and talk a bit about some of the good and the bad and what needs to happen next. The first example is something we had, which the Central Bank of Nigeria started. Over 10 years, the central bank and the bankers in Nigeria set aside 10% of their pre-tax profits to invest in small and medium enterprises, to invest in equity of small and medium-sized enterprises. This was a wonderful initiative, and over 10 years, they set aside something like $300 million and invested in very many businesses across different sectors of the economy, small and medium businesses. The second example happened more recently, where our Communications and Technology Ministry set up incubation centers across the country. But more interestingly, they set up a venture capital fund alongside these incubation centers. And they pulled together something like $15 million to sit alongside these incubation centers. And young people are primarily developing mobile applications and technology solutions and have access to this investment. The third example is the UWIN program. This is a federal government program for youths in Nigeria. It's called the Youth Enterprise with Innovation. In my country, you have to be under 45 to qualify as youth, so some of us are very happy about that. And what they did was they had business plan competitions. If you were 18 to 45 and you had an idea, you could put it into a business plan, and we had about 60,000 applications a year over 3 years, and 3,600 businesses were financed. They were given up to $40,000 each in grants. Now, these 3 programs had varying degrees of success, and I won't say which succeeded and which didn't, but they were all quite innovative in their intentions. The key success factor and the missing ingredient for those that didn't succeed was the need to provide a holistic approach to financing and to venture capital, recognizing that money and financing does not exist in a vacuum and that there is an ecosystem for venture capital, just as there is an ecosystem for innovation. That ecosystem comprises 5 components. The investors, and these are people like pension funds, who you and I contribute to, people like banks, the international financial institutions, endowments, foundations. The second component are fund managers, private equity fund managers, and these people intermediate the money from investors to provide them to entrepreneurs and innovators. The third group are policymakers. The policy environment for venture capital is key to the success of that industry in any economy. And so policy on investment, policy on taking out your money, policy on patents and innovation are all a key component of that ecosystem. The fourth group are service providers, the lawyers, the accountants, the consultants. Where we have to go to New York and London to find these service providers to come and transact in Africa, it becomes too expensive and not sustainable. So we need to develop those service provision locally in our countries. And then, of course, we have the innovators themselves, the entrepreneurs who access venture capital. Finally, we have organizations like my firm, Henshaw Capital Partners. And our job is really to drive this innovation cycle, drive this ecosystem. And it's through that effort that we put together a program called the Henshaw venture capital ecosystem development. We wish to accelerate the development of venture capital, working with those 5 and 6 components of the ecosystem. And it was through this process we got to what Katrina mentioned, which is a renewable energy initiative, where we are catalyzing the formation of renewable energy private equity funds in Nigeria and in Africa. So this is what I'd like to share with you. Innovation in finance is just as important as scientific innovation in order to get the financing to scale up innovation, to commercialize innovation, and to make it sustainable. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dr. Mashak, would you like to pass the clicker over to Hanan over there? Oh, you'd like to stand up, okay.